Welcome to my first official weekly art vlog. I'm excited to start sharing my process and my creative journey with you. I'm going to try my best to make this a weekly video. That way you can see what I'm working on, you can see my process, things that inspire me, and perhaps it'll help motivate me to stay focused on my goals. So let's get into what I've been working on this week. I have been working on a few different projects, and one of them is this large encaustic piece. I really started it about, I think it's been a year ago. I started out by prepping it with encaustic gesso on panel, and I started to draw this image of a cat. And then I kind of just sat around for months. I haven't really had a chance to do anything with it because I've been busy working on other art. But now that my large series is done, I've had the time to focus on this. And so I've just been doing a little bit, probably every other day this past week. So if you're not sure what encaustic art is, it's basically beeswax and resin mixed together and heated. You can also add colored pigment to it, and you take it and you heat it up to about 180 to 200 degrees Fahrenheit, and once it gets that temperature, you can paint with it. I started working in encaustic about 8 or 9 years ago, and one of my favorite parts of working with it is that you can work in many layers. Every time you put down another layer of wax, you have to make sure to fuse it. So you're going to need either a heat gun, a blowtorch, or an encaustic iron, and that way you can melt and fuse the layer together. It's actually a really ancient art form. It's been around since 5th century BC, and it actually comes from a Greek word, encaustikos, which means to burn in. So my beeswax is cooling off a lot faster than I want it to. I'm not quite sure if the temperature on my hot plate is accurate. I really need to buy a thermometer. That way I can check and make sure that it's in between 180 and 200 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm not too worried about the texture. For this piece, it doesn't really need to be perfectly smooth. So for this piece in particular, I'm actually going to be tracing my cat image multiple times onto rice paper. And each piece of race paper. It's going to look a little bit different every time, so it's going to look really three-dimensional. Between every single layer, there'll be another traced image of the cat. Personally, this week has been a little hard time-wise. I had some appointments, and then my youngest daughter ended up getting sick. Luckily, she got over it pretty quickly, but I did end up having to stay home more than I expected. The other project that I've been working on recently is actually a coloring book. It's still in the beginning stages, and right now it's actually 2 separate coloring books. One is going to be a Vermont themed one, and the other one is probably going to be focused more on fall and Halloween. But like I said, it's in the very beginning stages. On Friday, I ended up setting up for a Squishmallow painting workshop that I was having the next day at my studio. I set it for 2 kids. I ended up having another kid sign up later that evening, but it was a pretty small group this time around. I also had time to work on my Encaustic piece, and I put down the first layer with the race paper. that just about wraps up this week's video. I didn't really accomplish as much as I hoped I would. That's life, stuff happens. I ended up moving over here towards the couch because it's really cold in here. The temperature outside is like freezing. So that's pretty much for this past week's video. This upcoming week, I will be working more on my encaustic art piece. I will be working on a large colored pencil drawing. That's going to be for a show that I think it starts sometime in November. I'm going to work more on the coloring book pages, and I'm also going to decorate for Halloween because we're having a Halloween art party in here. And those are the major things I have to get done in the next week. If you guys have any questions or comments, just let me know. And thank you for watching this past week. I'll see you guys next week. Bye!